G'day folks, Mark here again. I've got an update on the shooting organisation that's coming together. Well, we did a poll, and we also on the video we had basically a poll to see what people thought, or making suggestions and all that sort of stuff. And there were lots of great suggestions, really good ideas for the name for the organisation. What it came up with was one resounding winner in the way of the acronym, which was ARC, so ARC. At this moment, that's all I can release of the name, because it is actually, we are doing this in the fully fledged, full organisation process. So full constitution, full organisation, making sure all the bells and whistles and I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and make sure it's thoroughly done. So I can't release the rest of the name at the moment. As what I can say is it involves, the name very much involves what we're about. So it's obviously Australian. It is about the I suppose the people wanting an organisation that is going to run from the ground up. So it is you. It is Australians trying to get back control of our country, to get it back to where the government is supposed to be for the people, not for the corporations or for itself, which the government is how it's running, but for the people. So the organisation comes from that. The other side of the name really comes into the fact that we all need to get together. We all need to go down the road of working together in all forms. So basically, by combining the tit for tat for the stuff that's happening in our shooting organisation, by combining the lack of combination we have out of four-wheel drives and fishing and farming and that sort of stuff. There's all things that we all have a common interest. We all have a common foe in the way of the government is doing to oppress or remove our rights in that situation. We all have that issue in what's actually happening, but there's not enough of us combining together. So if we can get together properly, get a large group of people. So we're a large group of people, which also turns into with a membership thing that'll happen down the track. We're starting off with some working capital, but to go where we have a large financial organisation to influence our government in all fashions that we can. And I see that as people want to know how we can do that sort of stuff. What can we do in that sort of fashion? There is multiple things. The main core I see at the moment, and certainly talking to the group, we're in a very similar place, is to create problems for the government in the fashion of we need to be noticed. We need to have a voice. Don't really like using that word given what just happened, but have a louder voice to be able to push forward and be able to be noticed. So that turns into, there's legal actions, which we are already talking about being involved with. On that note, I should comment that Kate mentioned that our group, well, there's a couple of things that Kate mentioned. What I can tell you is that she contacted us and contacted me specifically and said, listen, she really does think we need another organisation. She has offered to help in the way of setting up the organisation, that side of things. She did explain right at the beginning, one of our members did reach out to her and inspired by his own thoughts or people around their thoughts, thought that it'd be a good idea to listen. That gave her a way out if she'd moved to America, and that gave her a way to use the funds. She already had basically ear-tagged or organised those funds over with the lawyers to carry on with the several legal challenges they're looking at. So the money was well used. So it wasn't a group decision. It wasn't something we shouldn't have done in a real sense. It was not done out of malice or out of greed or anything like that. It was done out of simply trying to find a way to help everybody. Kate contacted me. I said, listen, sorry, didn't realise that happened, but fully understood her situation. But what I was going with, if we have the likes of legal actions, yes, that's relevant. In the wakes of lobbying, yeah, maybe that's part of it. In the way of that's certainly creating a people's representative to be able to sit in this case with the police and the police minister, that side of things, but even in different parts of the government. And I would reiterate, this is, yes, it's starting with firearms, but it is not just about firearms by any means. At this moment, that is the crisis. Let's build this, and everyone from Western Australia, let alone to around Australia, the majority of people in the other states have woken up to the fact that if this stays in play in Western Australia, If they get this done, they'll weather the storm, and then it'll move to another state, another state, another state. It'd be fool's gold to think that it's just West Australia. I'll just move from Western Australia to the other state and that'll fix it. It'll be there, and there's a real chance that when it goes to the next place, it'll just turn up that dial a little bit further. And the next state, they'll just turn up that dial a little bit further. Once they've gone through and do that, then they can just adjust all the dials, and yes, all the firearms will be gone. It is very clearly written in their mandates to do that, to remove all firearms from civilians, going right back to John Howard in 1996, saying that doesn't believe the democracy we live in that civilians should have firearms at all. Anyway, moving forward, the other places that we can do things probably turns into rallies. Who knows what it turns into whether it's workplace unrest that we can create. There's all sorts of things, hopefully not needing to do any of the heavier stuff, hopefully by being a large group with a large voice and some power, which potentially simply moves into a large voting bloc that the vote-hungry politicians all start to pay attention to. We don't know. We've got to be prepared to go everywhere. We want to save this country. We want to bring it back to a country governed by a government for the people, or by the people, not a government for a government, or a government for the corporations, a government for the people. It's a tall order. There's a lot to do, but that's where we're going forward with it. As for the GoFundMe working capital type thing, it's going well. I think we're over 100K right now at the moment, which is going great. And I suppose I would say on that sort of format, that is a part of this bit that I'm probably the least comfortable with, having my hand out for money without having done anything, and I would fully open that. It is a way to get this started, which is the most valuable thing to do. And right now, if it is all that you can offer, if all you've got and want to be part of this fight and all you can offer is a donation, then that's exactly what that GoFundMe is for. Link is down below. Shortly, when we get this organisation turned into all official, so we can have a bank account, so we can do all those bits and pieces, we've got to do it the right way to start off with. We don't want to hamstring ourselves by doing it wrong. So there are definitely members of our group that are real sticklers to that sort of stuff, which is exactly why they're members of this group. It does slow someone like me down, so it's a frustration, but it is an important one. But when we have a bank account, then for the people who don't want to deal with someone like GoFundMe, we'll be able to do the direct deposit side of things and do it that way if you want to do it. But right now, a more important, in my mind, it's a very important thing regardless, is to build a membership base and to build skills. We need more people. This is an organisation for you to help you. Yes, there is 4 of us sitting up here, sort of 5 of us, Sam's helping all the time as well, that are sitting here and trying to lift this heavy load at the moment and try and go through all the frustrations of setting this thing up and make it go. But this is, whether we're the people sitting at the table in 6 months' time, is totally about you. What we want is skills, and so people who've got and at this stage, it's a volunteer thing. Ultimately, we feel it needs to turn into where there are professional positions, so paid positions, so we keep continuity. It is the biggest thing that is weak about a volunteer organisation, is that it doesn't have that continuity, and people have only got so much the time to give because they've got their own crazy lives to try and pay the bills, to try and do everything they've got to do. Once it becomes where you have who knows how big this organisation gets, but whether it's 1 or 20 staff, whether there's one state that it's driving one area that's driving all, or there's factions, or there's basically chapters all over the country, or there's multiple portfolios. I'm hoping we can get as big as Ben-Hur, and there are more of them. But to start with, it starts from volunteers, so people with the skills. Whether you're admin, whether you're PR, whether you're legal, whether you're, I don't know. There's 1,000 different things, and that's, I suppose, what I would say. Yes, we have some very knowledgeable people, but I'm sure there's people out there with more knowledge than us on how to build the infrastructure of an organisation, on how to work with the PR machine. I would like to see us grow in social media side of things, but I'd also like to see how we can grow into mainstream media side of things and make a difference in those places. There's lots of stuff. There's obviously political, there's legal, there's all sorts of places where we can go with this sort of thing. So if you've got the skills, well, it moves into, there's a form down below. The form down below is not a membership form. We can't do memberships until we are an organisation, all the rest in a full level. What we can do to build our numbers is you can register an interest in becoming a member. So that's what that form is. It takes the basic details you can share. So your name, your address, your phone number, if you can share that, your email address, on that sort of stuff, we need to be able to contact you, and that maybe send something out in the mail, but whatever form it is, we need that there. So that basically means that when we become that official organisation, we'll send you the stuff to be able to fill in, to be able to become a member if you still want to. I hope you would. I hope we just gain more and more as that happens. But the other thing down there is a couple other forms that it links to, or areas it links to. One is that if you're a shooter, a firearms owner or not, that is for the fact that there's part of this group that is also trying to do stuff with property letters and try and help in those places, and it's finding out details for the immediate fight. So if you do that, tick on the yes on there, open that tab up and go to that place there. It's also where you can put in what you're able to help us with. What you can actually bring to the table really is important. This is a group of you. This is about you. We're combining clean slate across the whole rest of everything, try and get to where this is about you. Whatever your angle is, whatever your interest is, whatever your way of helping is or your problem is, there are slots down there to put it in. So one, to tell us what you can bring to the table. The other is if you've got a special interest, and that may be that you are not firearms at all, you're four-wheel driver and you can't stand all these chains and cameras that are showing up in national parks. That may be that you're someone who really, really cares about Australia's native flora and fauna, and you're massively concerned that we're about to lose most of them. Mass extinction is right now starting. We've already stopped firearms owners going into those sort of areas, and people are now too nervous because they don't know what they're in trouble with. So those cats, those foxes, those pigs, they are causing great havoc on our native flora and fauna. So for people who are pure conservationists, yes, this is for you too. And then everything else. There's a myriad of things. The farming side of things, very, very important what's happening to the farmers. And now we've got a new super tax that's coming in. So from what I understand, the land tax or whatever it is really going to hurt them. All sorts of things. Our government is not listening. They're doing what they want to do for their benefits. So yes, come on side as well. We want to. If there is enough of this sort of stuff, then that may well be where we turn into where we have a portfolio that is just about farming and fighting that side of things. And we can use this whole numbers of bodies, this whole voting block, this whole ability to reach into all sorts of stuff to help you, or four-wheel drivers, or nature lovers, or whatever it is. This is for you. I want to reiterate that. A ground-up organisation that is run by the people on the floor. There's voting, was part of what we're going to do here, but we have to structure this and we have to move fast. The government is well in the way of taking all of that away. So let's get together. I implore you get together. I implore all the negativeness, all the people who want to fight, all the people who, whatever it is, because of power or ego or greed or whatever it is, stop it. Let's get together. Let's be a team. Let's be a force. And if you're the person that feels that you should be running an organisation and you've got real skills to bring into this organisation, why not? That is exactly what this organisation is for. We want people that can do this sort of stuff. And as much as I'm trying, and Louise is definitely skilled at this stuff, trying, Steve's trying, Nick, we are all doing all we can to this thing. I'm sure there's people that are in many that are probably better than, as good as, let's not judge what other people are, but as good as or better than, and we certainly need you. So please fill that form in. The GoFundMe is down there below. If that's what you've got to offer, then thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, it really does matter that it's helping in this sort of situation. And as for where the funds are going, I think they're about to be touched a tiny bit with some legal advice, but otherwise they're sitting quietly waiting to get ready for the fight. So yeah, listen, I suppose that's what I can tell you. Or one other correction I want to put into this video. Neil Jenkins over at Politics Reloaded said that we're going to give 100% of the money back if we don't make $250,000. That's not what I quoted. What I quoted, ultimately, the amount we raise is, listen, I don't know how relevant it really is. what I said is if this organization doesn't go forward, if it stumbles and falls, then what is not being spent, so the majority of the money, 95% of the money, will be refunded. That's what I said, that's what I meant. I can't believe that's going to happen. There's already too much motivation. It is already going there. So I really think we can do this, and the money is important, but it is the least important part of this process as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, just got that a little bit wrong, Neil, but listen, I understand, no hard feelings on that score. Anyway, guys, that's my video for today. Please get involved, get everyone involved, share it as much as you can, and we are trying and making this go as fast as we can, and I'm pedaling as hard as I can too. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.